Chosen one, if you have lived long enough to stop expecting the things you quietly still want. This message is the reason you are awake right now. I know what it costs to keep showing up after the 10th. No, after the 20th. After the one that broke something you did not have the energy to name. You became quieter about your needs, smaller about your dreams, more careful with your hope. And somewhere along the way, you trained yourself to pretend you never wanted it in the first place. Listen to me carefully. A messenger has been sent, not to the loudest life, not to the most polished story, not to the one who kept the faith perfectly, to yours, the one who kept walking. Everything withheld from you was not punishment. It was not proof of your unworthiness. It was the curation of a delivery too specific to be handed over by the people who were never assigned to you. A woman sent by God does not arrive to the life that begged. She arrives to the life that was prepared. Stay with me all the way through. What restores tonight does not restore in pieces. It restores in full. By the time this message closes, 3 things will have shifted in you. You will understand why every denial you have endured took the exact shape it took. You will have a clear way of recognizing the moment she actually begins to arrive in your life. And you will receive an activation at the very end that seals what was sent for you, so that nothing on earth has the authority to reroute it again. Do not rush this. Do not skip ahead. The order matters. Before I take you any further, one small thing you should know. Everything I am about to share with you over the next 40 minutes is yours for free. If, at some point, your spirit tells you there is more you are meant to carry home, the description and the pinned comment below hold what some of you will be looking for. Only open it if you feel led. Nothing here pushes. The message itself is enough to change the trajectory of your week. Now, let me walk you into the recognition, because this is the part that tells you why this message found you tonight and not someone else. This is not superstition. This is not suggestion. This is recognition. And recognition is the beginning of everything you are about to receive. I want you to think back to a recent evening. Not necessarily this week, but sometime in the last month. There was a moment when the room around you went quiet, in a way you cannot fully explain. Maybe it was after dinner. Maybe it was later, when the house had finally gone still and the noise of the day had stopped pushing against you. You were doing something ordinary, holding a cup of something warm, looking through a window at nothing in particular, reading a message you never replied to, and a sentence ran through your mind that has not left you since, something close to this. I do not know what I am waiting for anymore, but I feel like something is about to change. That sentence, that exact one, that was not random. That was the first whisper of her approach. The first sign is a quiet inner knowing that this time is different. It does not announce itself with thunder. It shows up in small moments when you catch yourself almost believing again. You will be in the middle of an ordinary task, and a calm certainty will show up in you that says, this season you will be picked, not skipped, not overlooked. Picked. And the strange part is, you cannot argue with it, even though every piece of external evidence says you should. That quiet knowing is not wishful thinking. That is the advance frequency of what has already been scheduled for you. Not paranoia, not coincidence. Preparation. The second sign is a strange, sudden clarity about a past no. Something that hurt you years ago will come back to your mind, unannounced, and for the first time, you will see the architecture of protection inside it. You will look at the door that closed, the person who walked away, the opportunity that slipped, and instead of pain, you will feel something closer to relief. You will hear a voice inside you say, "Thank God that did not go through." That is not denial. That is not bypassing. That is the retroactive clarity the Spirit gives you when a new arrangement is close enough to replace the old explanation. Not regression. Not rumination. Recognition. The third sign is an unexplained peace about a specific grief you had carried for years. It is not that the grief disappears, it is that it settles. It takes a seat inside you instead of occupying every room. You will be doing something ordinary, and you will realize, I have not carried that exact weight for days now. It is still part of my story, but it is no longer running my present. That settling is not forgetting. That is your interior preparing a clean room for what she is bringing. Not numbness, not avoidance, clearing. And before I take you any deeper into this, I want to tell you plainly what you will carry out of this message if you stay with me all the way to the final sentence. You will walk away with a complete reframe of every past denial that has been sitting on your spirit, so that you can stop carrying the story that something is wrong with you. You will walk away with a 3-marker protocol you can use this week to recognize when the season actually begins to turn in your favor. You will move through the exact internal block that causes most chosen ones to quietly sabotage their own arrival at the threshold. And in the final minutes of this message, I will speak something over your life that I believe will stay with you long after this message closes. This is not a video you want to step away from halfway through. What comes at the end is the part that seals everything else. So, stay. Receive it in full. The fourth sign is a specific name or face that has been showing up in your awareness this month through more than one channel. You heard it in a conversation. You saw it in something you were reading. It came up in a memory for no clear reason. And each time, something inside you paused because you sensed the repetition was pointing at something. That is not random. That is not your mind playing tricks. That is the signature of an assignment crossing into visibility before the arrangement is made public. Not obsession. Not overinterpretation. Alignment. The fifth sign is the feeling of assignment when you encounter certain people lately. You meet someone new, or you reconnect with someone you had not spoken to in a long time. And within the first few minutes, there is a quiet recognition on the inside of you that says, "This person is on my path for a reason." You cannot explain why. They have not said anything remarkable. But something in your spirit has already filed them under a different category than everyone else you met this month. That is not over-eagerness. That is not loneliness projecting. That is discernment sharpening, because the messenger never arrives alone. She brings a network, not flattery, not fantasy, assignment. Now, let me name what you have been carrying, because I do not want to hand you recognition without first acknowledging what the recognition is walking into. You have been denied so many times that you taught yourself to stop asking out loud. You made your dreams smaller, so that the gap between the dream and the reality would not hurt as much. You stopped telling people what you hoped for, because hope out loud started to feel like exposure. You became careful. You became tired. You became the version of yourself who stops hoping publicly. That is not weakness. That was survival. That was the only way you knew how to keep walking through a season that kept taking from you. And here is the first truth I am placing in your hands tonight. The denial itself was a redirection, not a verdict, not a reflection of your worth, a redirection. Every door that closed was closed so that the door opening now could hold the size of who you have actually become during the waiting. Every no that reached your life reshaped the kind of yes your life could eventually receive. That is the surface of the reframe. In the next part of this message, I am going to show you the architecture underneath it. Because what I just said is true, but it is not yet specific enough to carry you through what is coming. What is happening to you right now is more precise than recognition. There is a reason your denials took the exact shape they took. There is a reason she is arriving at this specific point and not earlier. And once you see that reason, something will settle inside you that has not settled in a long time. Let me pause here with you for a moment. You have been listening for more than 10 minutes now. That alone is significant. Most people cannot stay present with something that touches their denial pain for this long. You can. That says something about the version of you that is coming. I am not going to rush past that. This is not a message you consume. This is a message you sit inside. So, let the last 10 minutes land before we move. Let the sentence that caught your attention earlier keep echoing in you. Let the sign that made you pause settle a little deeper. You do not have to hold it tightly. You do not have to prove it is real by understanding every piece of it right now. Some of what is happening to you tonight will make sense only in retrospect. Weeks from now, when the first marker arrives, you will remember that you were told, that is enough for this moment. No labor, no earning, just presence. And now, let me take you into the question that has been burning underneath everything I just named, the one you have not allowed yourself to ask out loud in a long time. Why you? Why this way? Why now? Because without the answer to that, the recognition cannot hold. Stay with me. The reason is more specific than you think. Why you? Why this way? Why now? These are the three questions that have been underneath every prayer you have made for the last few years, even when you did not put them in those words. I want to answer each one clearly, because until I do, the recognition cannot convert into reception. What felt like a locked door was a lock waiting for the correct key holder. What felt like rejection was reservation. What felt like silence was the careful preparation of an arrival that could not have been handed over by the wrong messenger. Let me start with the people, the ones who walked away from you, the ones who stopped calling, the ones you grieved. Here is what I need you to hear. The people who walked away from you walked away on schedule. They were not punishment. They were not rejection. They were filtration. Every departure cleared a seat at a table you did not yet know was being set. Because the messenger arriving for you does not come alone. She brings a network. And the seats at that table had to be emptied of anyone who could not hold what was coming. You were not abandoned. You were clearing the room. Now, let me talk about the opportunities. The job that went to someone else, the chance you were sure was yours. The open door that closed without explanation. The recognition you deserved that arrived for a name that was not yours. Those were rehearsals. Not failures. Rehearsals. Each one taught your spirit one specific skill that the real arrangement was going to require. The patience you did not ask to develop. the discernment you built by being burned, the capacity to keep showing up when no one was applauding, the instinct to spot counterfeit offers before they cost you more than you could afford to lose. You were not passed over. You were being prepared to hold what most people cannot hold. And then there is the delay, the long, slow, unbearable waiting that made you question whether anything was ever coming at all. The delay was curation, not indifference, curation. The heavens were taking their time because what is being handed to you is custom built, and custom built takes longer than ready-made. The people with quick answers often receive ready-made outcomes. You were marked for something else. You were not forgotten. You were being fitted. I want to walk you into an old story for a few minutes, because the pattern you are living was lived by someone before you in the most painful possible way, and the resolution she received is almost exactly the resolution being prepared for you. There was a woman named Hagar. She was used, then she was discarded, then she was sent away into a wilderness with her child and a little water and nothing else. The people she had served and trusted stopped choosing her. The arrangement she had given her life to ended without ceremony. She walked into the wilderness, and she kept walking until the water ran out. And when the water ran out, she did what most of us have done in our own quieter wildernesses. She sat her child under a bush, and she walked a short distance away because she could not bear to watch him die. She sat down on the ground, and she wept. In her heart, it was over. That is the moment I want you to picture. A woman sitting in the sand. No path forward, no allies, no invitation. The certainty that this was the end of her story. And that is the exact moment the messenger arrived. An angel of God called to her from heaven, not after she recovered, not after she performed some act of faith. In the lowest moment of her discarded life, a messenger crossed into her coordinates and changed the arrangement. She was shown a well she had not been able to see, a well of water. Real, immediate, practical provision. And she was given a word about her child that rewrote the entire future. And she gave that place a name, Bir Lahai Roi, the well of the one who sees me, because she realized in that moment that she had been seen the whole time, even when the people around her had stopped seeing her. Let me tell you what I hear when I sit with that story. I did not withhold. I was preparing the hands that would carry what my promises required. What they removed from you, they removed because they could not carry it. What I return to you, I return through hands that can. That is the pattern you are standing inside right now. What felt like absence was assignment in waiting. What felt like abandonment was curation beyond your sight. What felt like being unchosen was being reserved. You did not misread your life. Your life was simply operating on a timeline longer than the one your pain could see. And I want to tell you briefly about someone I have watched walk this exact pattern in our own time. A woman in her early 40s. She had been doing everything right for years, praying, serving, showing up. And nothing was happening. Every door closed. Every prayer felt like it echoed into an empty room. She told me once that she had stopped asking the question of when, because the asking had started to feel like a wound every time she did it. Then one season, without announcement, things began to settle, not break open dramatically. Settle. The people who were supposed to leave left. The peace she had been asking for arrived quietly. The opportunity she had released years earlier came back in a different form. It took months. It was slow. It was undramatic. And it was real. I am telling you this because some of you are inside that slow arrival right now, and you are mistaking slowness for absence. You are not being missed. You are being measured. That is the answer to the first question I promised I would hand you. Why you were denied. Not because something was wrong with you, because the delivery being prepared could not have traveled through any other life shape. The exact denials you endured built the exact shape of the container you needed to hold what is coming. That is the first promise of this message, delivered. But there is a second question you have been carrying that I have not answered yet. If all of this is true, if she really has been sent, how will I know when she is actually here? How will I recognize the arrival and not miss it because I was too tired or too braced to see it? That is the question this message is walking you toward. And in just a few minutes, I am going to hand you a clear 3-marker protocol that will let you read her signature when she begins to enter your life. I need you to stay with me for it, because the recognition protocol is the difference between receiving what was sent and sleeping through the arrival. Before we move there, if any of this is resonating with you, type the word threshold in the comments below. I want to see who is crossing tonight. No pressure, just a mark of presence. And before we cross into the next section of this message, I want to place one thing in your awareness that will matter later when we reach the part about holding the receiving posture. There is a tool I was introduced to some time ago. It is called the Genius Song. It is an audio frequency recording built around a specific range called the gamma frequency, and it was designed to support the exact receptivity state that the protocol we are about to learn requires. The short explanation is this. When your inner state is in a mode of grasping, recognition is almost impossible. When it settles into a certain frequency, recognition becomes natural. It was developed by Dr. Robert Lake, based on documented research into brain entrainment, and it has been helping chosen ones hold the posture of receiving that the rest of this message will describe. I am only mentioning it now so that if you want to know more about how it works, the description and the pinned comment below will have what some of you will be looking for. If that is not for you, stay with me here. Everything you need to receive tonight is already inside this message. Let me return now to what I was walking you through, because there is one more piece of this formation season I want you to see before we move into the full reveal of what she is actually carrying toward your life. You have heard why you were denied. You have heard why the denial took the shape it took. Now, I want to show you exactly what she is walking toward you with, because the specifics of what is coming are the part that makes the promise unshakable. She is not coming with a consolation prize, a downsized version, a settlement offer for the denials you endured. She is coming with the original, the real thing, the shape of the life that was always assigned to you before anyone rerouted it. Let me walk you through what she is actually carrying, because until you see the specifics, the promise stays abstract, and abstract does not settle inside a tired spirit. The first thing she carries is the reorganization of your relationships, the right people arriving with a timing that feels designed, the wrong people releasing with a clarity that does not ache the way it used to, the ones who went quiet, coming back with a different energy, or staying gone because their absence is part of the design. She carries new connections that feel familiar the first time you meet them, because your spirit recognizes them from the arrangement that was made before you ever met. She carries the restoration of trust in a community you thought you had lost. She carries the healing of one specific relationship you had privately buried. The second thing she carries is the reorganization of your provision. Resources rerouting toward you that had been stuck for reasons no one around you could name. Opportunities that bypassed you during the formation season circling back, but this time in upgraded form. She carries an income shift, a door opening, a resource finding its way to you that you did not have to chase. She carries the return of what was delayed. She carries the arrival of what was curated. The third thing she carries is the reorganization of your inside, the self-worth that got buried under the years of being passed over, the voice in you that went quiet, the part of you that stopped believing it was allowed to want things. She carries the excavation of the version of you that was there before the wounding. She carries the return of your capacity to expect good things without bracing for the bad. She carries the restoration of your relationship with your own hope. She is not adding a new life to the one you are living. She is returning the original. And here is what I hear when I sit with this moment. In the spirit, I am releasing her now. Open your hands. That is the posture of this entire season. Open hands, not clenched hands, not performing hands, not earning hands. Open hands. What is coming to you cannot be received by a fist. I want to be honest with you, because the integrity of this message matters more to me than the inspiration of this message. I cannot tell you the exact date she arrives. I cannot tell you the precise form she takes in your life. What I can tell you is this. This is the season. These are the markers. The arrangement is real. Some of you are going to see her cross into your life in the next few weeks, some in the next few months. Some will look back half a year from now and realize she has been arriving the whole time, and you just needed this message to name what was happening. Stay with me for what comes next, because I am about to give you the exact 3-marker protocol for recognizing her, the one I promised you at the beginning of this message. But before I do, I need to place one more practical anchor in this conversation. Some of you are going to need it more than others, and I will not get another clean moment to mention it. Let me pause here first and say in plain words what this message has actually been about so far, because after everything we have walked through, I want you to hold a clear picture of what you are receiving. Here is the why. You have not been overlooked. Your denials had a structural reason. You are standing inside a shift that has been forming for longer than your situation has been making visible. Here is the what. You have been given 3 things in this message so far. A complete reframe of your past denials, so you can stop carrying a story that something is wrong with you. A clear explanation of why the delay took the exact shape it took, and a map of what is actually being reorganized around you during this season. And here is the who. This message is for anyone who has been praying longer than they have been receiving, and who is ready to stop sabotaging the arrival when it finally comes. If that is you, you are in the right message at the right hour. That is the ground you are standing on. Now, let me show you the practical anchor I mentioned. I want to introduce you to someone first, because she is the real reason I care about what I am about to share. A woman I know had been walking the slow version of what I have been describing in this message for almost 7 years. Not dramatic, not sudden, slow. She had done every practical thing, and she had done every spiritual thing, and nothing was moving the way her heart was asking it to. When she finally came across the tool I mentioned earlier, she did not experience a lightning moment. What she experienced was a settling, her inside quieted in a way it had not quieted in a decade. And from inside that quiet, the things that had been stuck around her started to unstick. It took months. It was not theatrical. It was the real shape of receiving. The tool she used is what I touched on briefly earlier. It is called the Genius Song. And what it does is support the exact state of inner openness that the protocol I am about to give you requires. You can know every marker of her arrival and still miss her if your inner frequency is set to grasping instead of receiving. Chosen ones carry a lineage of Gamma that is not new language dressed in spiritual clothes. The Gamma frequency is a real range of brainwave activity, and the people who have been sensitive to the unseen their whole lives are people whose nervous systems naturally lean toward it. This recording is designed to gently guide you into that frequency, which is the same frequency your body slips into during the most settled moments of prayer, or the deepest breakthroughs of insight. Years of research have documented what brain entrainment does, and the science is not controversial at this point. Dr. Robert Lake took that research and built a specific audio experience based on peer-reviewed work in the field that holds your nervous system in the state that makes receiving natural. I know some of you are asking whether it actually works. The honest answer is, it works consistently for people who use it consistently. Others are asking whether this is for them. If you have been stuck in the grasping posture for a long time, and you know you need help returning to a receiving posture, it is for you. And some of you are looking at the price and wondering if it is worth it. Let me speak to that directly. The original price of this tool was $49. Dr. Lake made the decision to lower it to $39 because he wanted it in the hands of chosen ones who had been waiting, not priced out of the very thing they had been preparing to receive. That was a mission decision, not a discount. Along with the recording, you receive 4 support bonuses: a $19 meditation companion, a $20 frequency guide, a $29 receptivity manual, and a $12 sequence tracker. That is $80 of support on top of the core tool, and everything you receive is yours to keep, even if you decide later that this is not for your season. The bonuses stay with you regardless. Close to 18,400 chosen ones have used what Dr. Lake built so far, and fewer than 4 out of 100 have returned it. That is not a marketing number. That is the real measurement. One thing I need to warn you about: there are copycat versions circulating with similar names and weaker frequencies, and they do not carry the real entrainment architecture. If you decide this is part of your crossing, only follow the link in the description or the pinned comment below. That is where the authentic recording lives. If your spirit is telling you this belongs to your season, the Genius Song is waiting for you below. If it is not for you, stay with me here. The rest of this message is complete in itself. Is less than has hone 5 hash is greater than. However, she reaches you, whether through this specific recording or another doorway. Entirely, the markers of her arrival are what I want you to walk away from this message, knowing how to read. But before I give those markers to you, I need to take you through the part of this message that most chosen ones skip past, and it is the part that ends up costing them the delivery she is carrying. You have heard why you were denied. You have seen what she is returning. You have been given a clear reframe for your whole backstory. But there is one thing we have not addressed yet, and it is the most quietly dangerous piece of this entire season. The threshold is where most people lose what was sent for them. After years of being denied, After years of training yourself to stop expecting, there is a specific internal reflex that kicks in at the exact moment the real thing begins to arrive. It is not obvious. It does not announce itself. It feels rational. It feels responsible. It feels like wisdom. But it is none of those things. It is survival, doing its old job in the wrong chapter. The voice inside you that says, "This is too good to be mine." The voice that says, "Something will go wrong." The voice that talks you out of celebrating too soon, because celebrating too soon is how you got hurt last time. The voice that says, "Protect yourself. Do not open too fully. Wait until it is confirmed beyond any doubt." That voice built a threshold inside you during the years of denial, because that threshold is what kept you from falling apart every time hope arrived and then did not materialize. And the threshold worked. It kept you walking. It kept you functional. But the threshold cannot tell the difference between the false arrivals of the past and the real arrival of this season. It fires automatically. And when it fires at the real thing, it disqualifies the real thing before you have the chance to receive it. Let me show you the exact moment this happens. Picture an ordinary day in the weeks ahead. You are doing something unremarkable, checking your messages, opening a piece of mail, walking into a meeting you did not think twice about, and something lands. A name, a number, an opportunity, a person, something concrete that lines up almost too neatly with what you had been praying for. And in that moment, before any celebration has a chance to form, the voice shows up. This is a setup. This is not really mine. This is going to fall through like every other time. Do not get excited. Do not tell anyone. Do not let your guard down. Stay small. That voice is not your truth. It is your survival from an older season, trying to do its job in the wrong chapter of your life. And here is the reframe most chosen ones never get. Receiving is not passive. Receiving is the most active spiritual work you will ever do. It takes more courage to receive the real thing than it took to keep walking through the false rejections, because receiving means dropping the threshold you built for protection, and dropping that threshold feels, for a few seconds, like being defenseless. You are not defenseless. You are finally positioned. I want you to hear a few declarations you can carry into that exact moment when it arrives, not as affirmations to perform, as permissions to internalize. You are allowed to be chosen. You do not have to qualify for it twice. You are allowed to receive without inspecting the gift to death. The inspecting habit was built during the season of counterfeit offers. This is not that season. You are allowed to stop punishing yourself for almost giving up. Almost giving up was proof of how long you walked, not evidence of your unworthiness. You are allowed to let her in without interrogating her arrival. The arrangement does not need your permission slip. It needs your open hands. You are allowed to want what you have wanted, even out loud, even in front of people. Wanting did not cost you anything. Wanting quietly was what cost you. Some of you will find, during this crossing, that there is deeper identity work that keeps wanting to rise in you. That work is the longer road, and tools like Destiny's Embrace exist for the chosen ones who are ready to walk that road. But for this moment, the core work is the receiving posture, and the receiving posture is what this message and the tool below were built to support. Now, let me give you the protocol I promised. 3 markers you can use in the real world this week to recognize when the arrangement begins to touch your life. I call this the threshold protocol. The first marker is stillness, not calm. You produced unsolicited peace. You will catch yourself feeling settled about something you had no reason to feel settled about. A situation that would normally have you anxious will land in you without the usual spike. That stillness is not you getting better at coping. That stillness is the signature of her proximity. When you notice unearned peace, you are reading her first fingerprint. The second marker is sequence. Things begin unfolding in an order that reveals design. The relational shift will come first. A person, a conversation, a reconciliation, a clearing. Then the internal shift, a sudden quieting of a voice that had been loud in you. Then the external shift, a resource, an opportunity, an open door. If you see the sequence, you are reading her signature. Random events do not unfold in an order. Assigned events do. The third marker is signature. Every delivery she makes carries a specific quality that feels like it could not have been engineered. A detail that resolves too precisely. A timing that is too clean. A coincidence that does not feel like a coincidence. You will catch yourself saying, "No one could have arranged this." That sentence is the signature. And here is how you actually use the protocol in practical terms. When one marker appears, pause. Do not dismiss it. Do not overbuild on it either. Just note it. Track whether a second marker shows up within the same week. When two converge, move into the receiving posture. Open hands. No bargaining. No questioning. Let the third marker confirm. And once three have lined up in the same season, speak it out loud to yourself in a quiet place. Say, "This is her. I am receiving. I am not interrogating. I am not earning. I am opening." And I hear the Father saying this softly. When you see the sequence, do not interrogate it. Receive it. That is your protocol. That is the tool I promised. That is the second piece of this message delivered into your hands. Stay with me for the final minutes, because there is one more piece that seals everything I have said. Before this message closes, I am going to speak something directly over your life, and I want you to be present for it. It will not be long. It will be specific. And I believe some of you will carry what I say tonight for a very long time. Let me tell you who you become when she actually arrives. Let me tell you who you become when she actually arrives. You are no longer the one who asks. You are no longer the one who waits. You are the one who receives. You are no longer the one who earns every small grace twice over. You are the one who was always meant to be handed it. You are no longer the one who holds back, who stays small, who shrinks their life to fit a story about being overlooked. You are the one whose inside has finally caught up with what the heavens had already decided about you. The version of you that kept shrinking over the years is not the real you. The real you is the one who walks through the door. She opens and does not apologize for walking through. The real you is the one who takes their seat at the table she set. The real you is the one who stops explaining your presence in rooms you were always meant to be in. What she delivers is not the destination. That is, the piece almost everyone gets wrong about a season like this. People think the arrival is the end. It is not. The arrival is the doorway. You are what walks through. And what you become on the other side of walking through is the real point of this entire season of denial and formation and preparation. She is the doorway. You are the crossing. Hold that for a second. Every denial you endured was writing the shape of the one who could finally walk through this door without shrinking in the threshold. That is who you have become. That is the identity she is delivering into. The long no made you specific. The delay made you precise. The preparation made you capable of holding something most people could not hold. You did not just survive. You were being shaped. And the shape is the point. Now, I want you to do nothing for the next few minutes. Do not plan. Do not review. Do not work. Just receive what I am about to speak over your life, because the final piece of this message is not information, it is sealing. Let me sit with you here before I close. If I could show you what the last 30-something minutes have looked like from the other side of the veil, you would see something you have not seen in a long time. You would see your own name, spoken clearly, in a room where decisions are made about lives. You would see the pain you walked through, honored, not dismissed. You would see the prayers you stopped praying, still counted. Every one of them. I want to honor the fact that you stayed with this message for this long. I want to honor the fact that some of you have been denied more than any human being should have to carry in one lifetime. And you are still here, still listening, still willing to believe one more time that maybe this is the one. That alone has already shifted something in the room above you. Before I speak the final piece over you, I want you to do one thing inside, in the space of your own mind. Picture the long hallway you have been walking for years, the one with all the closed doors. Every single no. Every door you stood in front of. Every one that did not open. Now, look at the hallway. Really see it. And now, see a door at the very end of it that you never noticed before. A door that was always there, waiting for you to have walked long enough to arrive at it. Do not force it. Do not reach for it. Just let yourself see that it is there. That door is the one she opens. And now, let me release everything that has been holding you back from walking toward that door. Every story you have told yourself about being the one who never gets picked. Every voice that convinced you that your portion would always be smaller than what others received. Every piece of shame you have carried for wanting what you wanted. Every quiet embarrassment of having hoped out loud and watched hope not deliver. Every layer of exhaustion from being the patient one, the responsible one, the one who always had to understand why it was not yet your time. All of it, in one clean release, I let go of over your life tonight. Lifted, closed, sealed, shut behind you. And now, what I speak next, I want you to receive in the fullness of who you have become. I commission you into the season of receiving. I commission you out of the identity of the overlooked. I commission you into the room. The heavens have been preparing for you since before you knew it existed. Your denials are closed. Your reservations are honored. Your name is on the schedule. The messenger is released. The delivery is approaching. And you are not the version of you who was denied anymore. You are the version of you who receives. And I hear the Father saying this over your life now. I did not bring you this far to leave you here. I did not write this story to end on a closed door. You were prepared for this, and what was prepared is yours. Carry that. Do not say amen yet. Sit in this for the next full minute before you move to anything else. Do not check your phone. Do not reach for the next thing. Let what was spoken settle where it needs to settle. Let the frequency of what was just released over your life land all the way down inside you. When you feel it has landed, and only when you feel it has landed, whisper the word, receive, once, in a quiet place. It is sealed. And before you leave this message, one last thing I want you to hear. You are not alone in this crossing. Right now, all across the world, chosen ones are having this exact shift at this exact hour. The message you just received was received by many others at the same moment, and that is not accidental. That is the collective awakening of the ones who were told for too long that they had been passed over. The ones who are being returned to their original lives in this season. If someone comes to mind right now who has been praying a long time and who needs this exact word, send it to them. Do not hold it back because you are not sure. Send it. Trust the instinct that just named them. That is the first practice of the receiving posture. If this message has touched something real in you, the word threshold in the comments below is how you mark that you were here. I read those. I will know that you crossed tonight. And if messages like this one are part of what your spirit is asking for in this season, let this one stay close to you, not for entertainment. As a companion for the road ahead of you. That is the word, chosen one. That is the message. That is the crossing. Go now, and let her arrive.